Good afternoon. It's April the 10th. It's looks nice, but it's quite windy. I'm actually putting my gloves on because I think my hands are going to be chilly as I walk in the wind. We'll find out momentarily. I did walk yesterday, but it was kind of aborted. It was only 10 minutes, and then I stopped because it started to rain. So I didn't bother posting a permanent version of that, but the live feed is there. If you Some big Colorado low coming up from the States is going to hit Manitoba particularly hard, but it'll clip the southeast corner of our province, they're saying. So we could get 10 or 15 centimeters of snow. We'll see. It's still a little early to call that for sure. It won't last because it's double digits again the week after that, but yeah, it's kind of expected. You hate to see it. You get all the snow gone and then it snows again. It's really depressing, but that is spring in Saskatchewan. I won't walk along the creek because I'll do that tomorrow. So I'll walk through the streets over to the footbridge. I spent the morning doing book cover design for Deutero, which is a science fiction novel by Brad C. Anderson that Chautauqua Press Reprise is putting out a new edition of. So I'm getting very close there to ordering a proof copy from Amazon, see what it's going to look like. Hi, Kirk in Vancouver. I thought I'd use my wireless mic, but it's just actually so much easier just to plug in the cord. And the wireless one, even though it works, I've been burned too often by those things. Not literally, figuratively. So sticking with the wired mic today. And it has the little fur ball on it because it's windy. So hopefully that'll cut down on some of the wind noise. We'll go down this way and then cut over to the Cornwall where the bridge is. In the sun, I feel silly wearing gloves, but when the wind's blowing, they make my hands more comfortable. So, yeah. I thought those were street cleaner signs. They're not, but that is coming up. But might snow on them this week. Now, in the sun, out of the wind, it's absolutely gorgeous. Yesterday I spent all day editing stories for Spring Magazine, which is a magazine of emerging writing by emerging writers, I guess. That's run by the Saskatchewan Writers Guild, and I'm the managing editor and prose editor this issue. So that all had to be done. Once I have all the edited material, then I have to pick a order and then talk to the layout person about it. And then there's book magazine launches in June. One in Regina and one in Saskatoon, which I'm looking forward to. Lots going to start happening. I've got Sask Expo in Saskatoon at the end of this month. Probably this week, I got to go through all my books and see if I need to order anything. There's just enough time probably to get more if I need them. And maybe not even enough time, actually. Probably not even enough time, so I'm maybe stuck with what I've got for this round. But then in June, the same thing in Regina. Got those magazine launches. Also, just the beginning of next month, Saskatchewan Library Association annual meeting, I'm going to have a Chautauqua Press display there. So much to do. Hopefully I make some money at those tables. Saskatoon can be expensive because it's 3 nights in a hotel, but as it happens, I have some free nights. It just takes it down to fuel and food for the trip. So I should come out ahead on that one. Depending on the crowds. I mean, will people come out? The vendors are there. Packed people-wise. People aren't too scared to come out. Ooh, creek is very high and moving along at a goodly clip. You don't see this much current very often in Wascana Creek. Down that way. If I turn this way, you can see this foam flowing down the middle there. Give you some idea of how quickly the water is moving right now. Sky's pretty. But again, I'm not going to walk along the creek. I'm going to go straight up to Hill Avenue, follow it out to Queen, which will take us right by the community garden, and come back through the park, and then back through the view again. That is the way this walk will go. I'm going to sort of zigzag over towards Hill Avenue just until I hit it, however that works out. So this here is Regina Avenue. Still snow lurking in the shade, and apparently going to get a little replenishment later this week. But it won't amount to anything. It'll melt quickly. You can't stop spring. Yeah. It's been above freezing now for a month, and the snow is still not completely gone. Some nice gardens along here before long. Interesting to see if anybody started doing anything at the community garden. Do people start preparing this early? I don't know, not being a gardener. It's about 2 kilometers from my house to go Regina. "20 minutes when you're walking, or thereabouts." Don't really know. I guess I'll see when I get there. It's 20 minutes downtown, and I think that's a little less than from my house, which is the walk I make most often. So this should be about 20 or 25 minutes to get to the garden, and then I'll walk a bit more down south. So the whole walk is about an hour, I know from past experience. The newer houses along here, more over there. We're coming up, of course. If I kept going this way, I'd go by Lakeview School. And since I'm zigzagging, we will zig. Oh, actually, I'm further than I thought. That's Lakeview there, so quite old. The new part was built in the 30s. I'm only wearing runners today, so I'll be avoiding anything that looks muddy, like alleyways. There are little traffic control islands down here. Slows down cars like that truck. Or trucks like that car. No. Cars like that truck. That doesn't make sense. Vehicles like that truck. There's a baseball field here, and there's an outdoor rink, which obviously is no longer in functioning condition. And then there's like a BMX track over there, which they only built a little while ago. It's getting a lot of use right now. Oh yeah, and a playground, which we'll go by here. A lot of people over there. Almost looks like a competition, but I think it's just people having fun. There's the playground. Two newer houses I kind of saw being built because we do so much rehearsing here at Lakeview United Church. Pretty nice playground. I would have loved it as a kid. Oh, Lakeview United Church. Eric often has rehearsed there for various things. Both of the shows I wrote and directed rehearsed there. As Time Goes By, A Love Story with Music and Ghosts, and The Music Shop, both of which had a fantastical element. Me being me. First one, as you might guess from the name, had ghosts. The second one had a mysterious automated piano player and a woman who seemed to be more than a century old running the shop. A more modern house there. Nice garage and background. Port. I like the looks of that one. The layout of it. I haven't walked down this particular piece of road very often because that house does not look familiar. Oh, well, I guess I've gone down the alley there. I remember that house. A couple of blocks yet till Hill. First we go over McCallum. The importance of those names, McCallum and Hill, is perhaps indicated by the fact that Regina's first skyscraper was the McCallum Hill building. The Hill companies continue. In fact, I helped them celebrate their centennial. Walter Scott, the first Premier of Saskatchewan, had an event here and one in Calgary. I'm sure I'm about twice the size of Walter Scott from what I've seen of him, picture-wise. I'm also pretty sure he had a Scottish accent, which I did not attempt when I did that, although I did it for the centennial of the Regina Cyclone when I played Mayor McCara, I believe his name was. Early mayor of Regina, who had also been born in Scotland, and I did put on a Scottish accent for that one. I'm not very good at it, but you have to put your throat, you have to put your voice. Make it work. I apologize to any Scots who might have listened to that. The Irish seems to be on the tip of your tongue, while the Scottish seems to be back there in your throat. Aye, laddie. Ah, they're magically delicious. Well, yes, I'm sure my Irish accent was somewhat based on the leprechaun from, what are they called? Lucky Charms. But I got complimented on it when I did it. I had to do an Irish accent for Who Has Seen the Wind at Persephone Theatre in Saskatoon, playing Uncle Sean. And someone who knew told me afterwards that I indeed sounded Irish. I just didn't sound like I came from the part of Ireland that the character said he came from. And I said, well, I'll take what I can get. I was not unhappy about that. At least I hit the island. Unlike, first time I had to do an accent, it was supposed to be a North Country, you know, the Liverpool, like John Lennon. And trouble was, when someone commented on that one, apparently I'd missed it by a few miles and they said I sounded Scottish. Oh well. The character was putting on the accent in the show, which was Sleuth, because, not to give too much away, but there's a character that actually disguises himself and portrays somebody entirely different, and so I did an accent. I also wore a bald wig, which was a bad choice. We didn't really have this was when I was at Crocus City Theatre in Weyburn, we really didn't have the technical skills to do a bald wig. And years later, when I moved to Regina, and I got involved in theatre here, makeup person, I think it was Nora Berg, who's actually done a lot of directing and is directing Little Women for Regina Lyric Musical Theatre right now. And I've performed with her since then. But she remembered that because she said when I came on stage, she turned to whoever she was with and said if she ever did any makeup that bad, she was getting out of the business. So that's kind of the state that was in. This is the Hill Avenue shopping strip. Various things, lots of nails and hair. Drugstore. Rude Awakening coffee shop. I've never been in this one. I could easily walk here and hang out as a different place to work. Kind of got out of the coffee shop habit. I'd like to get back to it because I think I work harder or more effectively when I'm not in my home office. Okay, I've walked by there many times. I didn't bother putting out every store along the way. Then there's a gas station here in the corner. We go downhill to Queen, and Queen will take us right to the Grow Regina Community Garden, which is my turnaround destination for this walk. I'll cross over to the other side when I get a chance. Why did the live streamer cross the road to get to the other side? Like now. Everything's looking more springy all the time. Right up till the snow comes later this week again. Our backyard is soon going to be a mess because we're building an extension and a deck. And I'm mostly concerned about the cat. He's going to hate having people in the backyard running machinery, especially when it's time for the jackhammer. I think we're all going to hate that. Hope it doesn't bring the whole house down. There's an old cement porch that has to come out. Thinking I might maybe should take him over to our condo. We'd have to take litter too, of course, and food. Probably that'd be more traumatic than him just cowering upstairs, waiting for the noise to stop. Oh well, nothing to be done about it. It's King Street. We don't want King Street. We want Queen Street. Although this would work too. I mean, multiple ways to get there. But my goal is to walk all the way to Queen and then turn. It's the Seventh-day Adventist Church over there, and associated school. This used to be a fire hall, but now it's something to do with the health department. You can tell just by looking at it, it was a fire hall. And now it's got something to do with the Capel Health District. And I don't think it's got ambulances in it either, although I suppose it might. It could be like a secondary ambulance place, I guess. I've been in there. We had services in there with our church years ago when we didn't really have a permanent home at the time. Not that I'm really active in that church anymore, but I remember having a service in there. I like this little church. Next one should be Queen. So how long to here? 22 minutes? Yeah, well, it'll be 25 at least. Let's actually hit the garden. I like the sky today. It's blue with white clouds. I think it's the contrast has made the camera make the sky look bluer. The wind's coming straight off the prairie up here, straight in my face. So it must be blowing pretty much out of the west, blowing due east. Based on the chill in my face and the dust in my contact, which is really annoying. This time of year is bad for that because it's usually our windiest time of year, April, and there's lots of dust around, so I often end up with grit in my eyes, which is annoying no matter who you are, but doubly annoying if you wear contacts. So I have to wait till my eye waters enough to wash it out, which hopefully it'll do before the other one gets something in it. Because when you got it in both eyes, oh, torture. Should wear sunglasses to help prevent that, but then I can't see the screen at all. Not that there's been a lot of action on the comment side today. But when there is, I like to be able to respond. Ah, man, it's a nasty one. Oh, I think maybe that got it. My eye's watering, but it doesn't seem to have grit in it anymore. It's always like a little piece of the north, these trees, or the mountains. You can see a stand of spruce like that, or a lodgepole pine, whatever those are. I don't know if they're spruce or pine. We have a spruce, but in our front yard, it doesn't look quite like that. It's a very broad street along here for some reason. So I've often come at the gardens from that way, gone further down and then come back, but I wasn't sure if it'd be muddy along the river there, so creek. So today I came from this direction. I'm going to go that direction. Go check out the new school they're building down at the other end of the park. So I work my way back. Well, I don't see anybody doing any preparatory work yet, but I think we can walk into the garden and get a sense of what it looks like. Oh, a couple of geese. Storm channel. Little snow still lurking down there. Little snow still lurking in the shade of the garden. We're going to go that way next. We'll go take a look at the gazebo for the first time since spring hit. I know I was here during the winter, but you couldn't walk into the garden then because it was just too snowy. There's Regina. It has these Vic Sikansky figures here on either side, and then Sikansky is a noted local artist. Also created the gazebo here in the middle. So it won't be long before people will be planting in here. Not much to look at right now, but as you can see, it has lots of plots. Here's the gazebo. It's like the pillars are trees and the overarching get in the middle. And then, well, it's hard to see with these chairs here, but there's various vegetables and things. And the railing there. Beans and tomatoes, other things like that. We'll just go down a different path here. Pretty much all the same right now. There's sand here, but I can tell it's quite damp underneath. Otherwise this would just be mud I'm walking in. Well, somebody might have been doing some cleanup in that one. That church or school, church I think right there, is where we voted in the last federal election. Unfortunately, Trudeau still got in, despite our opinions. Path along there somewhere, I think, but it could be muddy. So we'll go over to the other side where there's more of a proper path. We're going to go down to the far end of the park here. So we'll come back maybe the next time we come back to the Grow Regina garden. There'll actually be some gardening going on. I like to come this way several times over the course of the summer because it keeps changing as gardens do. This is Kinsman Park South. It's the formal name. It's quite a big one. My daughter has a friend who lives, or lived, she's off at university just like my daughter I think at the moment, but their house is over there not too far. When we would visit, bring her over here, she and her friend would sometimes come over to the park to play. There's also a bridge I think over the storm channel up here. A little further along. Oh, it seems quite abandoned. I thought there'd be more people out in the park today, but guess not. A lot of grass. Brown grass, but you can even see spots where it looks like the grass is thinking of greening up now that it's exposed to the sun. So that's usually the first thing that goes green, is the grass. And the next thing you know, we have to mow it again. It's not snow shoveling, it's grass mowing. Our grass is terrible. It needs to be replaced. But that's still far lower priority than this deck we're building, which is a big chunk of change. But it needs to be done if we're going to enjoy the backyard, which we would like to as we move into our twilight years. Not for a while yet. Oh, I saw a story today about Jeremy Clarkson, who's about to turn 62. I'm 62. He's a well-known British television presenter, as they call them. Most famous for, I say Top Gun, but that's not it. Top Gear driving show. And his new one, or the newer version of that, called, I've forgotten what it's called, but it's on Amazon Prime and we really enjoy it. Anyway, I wasn't able to read the article because it was behind a paywall, but he was talking about getting old as he's about to turn 62, and I thought, give me a break. These days, 62 is older than 42 or 52. It's not old. I don't feel old. But I suspect it's part of his persona. He's partly just, being provocative or interesting, because that's what he gets paid to do, is be provocative and interesting. If I'm provocative, I don't get paid for it. More likely to lose readers who disagree with my opinion, because you're not supposed to even follow or read anybody who doesn't have exactly the right opinions as proclaimed from some central opinion-making group, as far as I can tell. Whereas I disagree with probably everybody I've interviewed on my podcast about something. That's not the point of the podcast. We're talking about the creative process of science fiction and fantasy writers. So I don't care if they're left-wing fruitcakes or whatever, or right-wing fruitcakes. As long as they can write a good story, I'm interested in talking to them about their process. Alrighty, still a ways to go. This is a very long park, but almost to the street here. And then I just wanted to come down all this way because I wanted to check out the progress of the new school they're building over here. There's actually a podcast called Our Opinions Are Correct. And I think they probably mean that humorously, but it annoys me, that title, because I'm not sure they mean it humorously. They may actually think that they have the correct opinions about everything, and that anyone who disagrees with them is not just wrong, but bad or evil, needs to be cancelled or destroyed. And that's probably not being fair to them, but that's kind of a culture we're in right now. And as a free speech absolutist, it annoys, bothers, and troubles me. Interesting front on that house. Should get a good signal here. Giant cell phone tower there. I don't know if I'm on LTE or 5G. 5G is slowly spreading across the city. So downtown I get onto 5G. But at our house I'm still on LTE, which is still pretty darn good. I mean, I was having internet trouble. Had the tech today. Nothing in our house. It seems to be a problem external, which hopefully he's cleared up for the moment anyway. Although at some point they may have to replace cable down our alley. Apparently I'm not the only person who's had some internet issues. It's just these random dropouts, and then, which is annoying. Like it happened while I was doing a podcast the other day, and suddenly I wasn't able to do my podcast. Had to reschedule with the author. Very annoying. Anyway, I was having some internet issues. I said that. What was I going for when I started that ramble? Don't know. Mine's going. One digression too many. It's like these parentheticals. You get too many parentheses and you lose track of the original encapsulating text. So here's the new school they're building. Oh, right. I was talking about LTE. And even though it wasn't 5G, using my hotspot, which I had to do for a while, for most of my purposes was just fine for browsing and stuff like that. In fact, I even used it to watch TV. Although I hit my slowdown point. I have an unlimited data plan, but you get slowed down if you use too much high-speed data. This is a big complex. I think it's maybe two schools, like a separate and public together. But yeah, this goes on forever. Compared to the little one here, that's the old school, Argyle School. I presume it gets torn down. Or maybe not. Maybe it's all just going to be connected. Actually looks like it is connected, maybe down there. I think I'll maybe take a walk down this next street a little bit. Or into the playground here. To see what's what down at the other end of the school. Oh, well, I can't really go too far this way, but you can see kind of what they're doing here. Oh, yeah. Of course, it's all fenced, as you would expect, but see if I can see if they connect. There should be a way out through the alley, into the alley over there, maybe. Does it connect? No, I don't think so. I think the old school just ends, and then the new one begins. It's about 3 times the size of the old one, this and the other one put together, so pretty impressive. Must be a lot of kids in this neighborhood. They need to expand like that. Oh, what's that? Hello, Amar? Oh, you grew up in this area? Hi, Amran. Well, this is the new Argyle School. There's the old Argyle School. And there's the new one. Still a ways to go, but when I first started coming this way, it was just a hole in the ground, so it's better than a hole in the ground. Better than a hole in your head. But beats a hole in the head. Still a lot of snow out here. Right then, let's go back up the alley. So that's kind of the turnaround point at 40 minutes. Yeah, this will be over an hour by the time I get home. I mean, I walked some of the way back to the east coming this way. No, I did find a little mud, but it's not too bad. And there'll be more mud soon because there's snow coming later this week, they say. Possibly quite a bit of it. They don't know for sure. It's kind of a cool house. The glass turret there, I like that feature. I like turrets, they make me think of castles. This is Argyle. I don't really want to walk up Argyle, so I'm going to go over one more block. I've been in that house. I'm almost sure I've been in that house for some sort of music rehearsal. Whoever lived there at the time, it made sense. It is actually a crosswalk light, but I don't need it. I seem to remember singing next to a piano in that house. Where is this place? You mean the city, or? Well, that was Kinsman Park South, at the south end of which is Argyle School right there. This is Argyle Road. I'm not sure what our cross street is at the moment. The city is, of course, Regina, Saskatchewan. Regina is the capital of the province. It's the home of the RCMP. We have the exhibition, and in addition, Regina has CKCK TV. I mentioned before, that song played on TV when I was a kid, and things that played on TV when you were a kid are with you forever. So I still remember a great many of the lyrics to that song. The only part that I never quite grasped was all these neighborhoods that they list at one point. Whitmore Park, Douglas Park, something Park 2, that sort of stuff. You can take a scenic drive around Wascana. I walked around it on Friday. At Regina campus, get a degree. It was Regina campus at the University of Saskatchewan, now it's the University of Regina. Folks that till the soil or drill for oil, they watch CKCK TV. That part's still true, except it's not CKCK TV anymore. It's just CKTV, if they even call it that. CTV Regina, really, I think is what they call it. But the same TV station. I've been out too many times. One of the first times I was on TV was on CKCK TV in high school. They had a program called Debate, which was high school debate, special made for TV format, half an hour to debate some pressing issue of the day. And my partner and I debated on there. I think the topic was, be it resolved that future political leaders in Saskatchewan be elected by universal popular suffrage of major political parties in Saskatchewan. Be elected by universal popular suffrage. Or that might have been the one we did for the provincial debate tournament. Maybe it was a different one. Yeah, I think that was the provincial debate tournament. So I guess I don't remember the one we did for TV. But I remember being on TV. And the huge old cameras they had at the time, these huge gray boxes, weighed a ton, pushed around on three-wheeled platforms. That was probably my first time on TV, probably. I know my dad's chorus was on TV on chorus tours, so it could have been one or the other side of that. Anyway, high school. I made my TV debut. Now I've been on TV a lot because I used to host a TV show, so I'm very comfortable on TV. I like this house too. I've walked by it many times. An interesting porch and nice landscaped, different sort of landscaping in the yard here. It's very nice. Albert Street is just over there. I could go over that way and go home a different path, I guess. This is a seniors place that we looked at for my wife's mother at one point. Precious Memories Care Home. Ooh, that's a high school reference too. One of the songs that we did in choir was a hymn called Precious Memories. Precious memories, how they linger. In one of his recordings, maybe not when I was on, of the chorus, because he put out records during his years there, was called Precious Memories. I am just full of useless knowledge. It's my lived experience. Assiniboine Avenue. I used to know somebody that lived on Assiniboine. I think their house must have been down there. Oh, there's a big new one going in. A big new one. That's a big one. I think it's on 2 lots. Speaking of rehearsing, Ty Productions, Tom and Yvonne Ellis, TYE, Ty Productions, lived, I think, on that bit of Assiniboine, and maybe a little bit further down. And rehearsed in their house many a time. Hello. First show I did, first time I met my friend Robert Urson, very talented composer and director who has directed me in a million shows and accompanied me, my daughter voice, all that good stuff. He's now artistic director for Do It With Class Young People's Theater, but first time I met him was doing a Thai production show. It was a review called This Can't Be Love, Love Songs. Hey, I really am in your neighborhood. Did you know Tom and Yvonne Ellis? I don't actually know how long they'd lived there. House had the feel they'd been there a long time. Yvonne was very involved with music and performing. In Regina, one of the things that Ty did towards the end of its time was called the Golden Age Variety Show, and it was older performers performing again. And the fact that I am now in the same age group as the people who performed in the Golden Age Variety Show worries me a bit, going back to 62 not being old, but for some things it starts to feel old. Rob has talked about remounting the Golden Age Variety Show. I kind of wish he would. We are good performers, my cohort. Oh, I didn't know he lived around here. Mel Hill. Well, as they say, everybody's got to be somewhere. You never would have thought that Burton Cummings would end up living in Moose Jaw. As far as I know, he's still there. Or, for that matter, Jan Martel, author of Life of Pi, settling in Saskatoon all those years ago. He's undoubtedly the most famous author currently living in Saskatchewan, I'm sorry to say. Although, I now have a Wikipedia page. I discovered that last night. Somebody had put up a stub, as they're called, just a basic placeholder, really, with some basic information about me. Some of which was wrong, but that's Wikipedia for you. So I went in and fixed what I could. I can edit it, so I'll add more. Although I have to be sure to cite things appropriately so it doesn't end up with a note that says citation needed. And the fact that it's about me I'm not a citation. It has to be something external, I think. I don't know much about Wikipedia. Oh, it's cool that I've got a Wikipedia entry now, Edward Willett. Look it up. It doesn't mention my live stream walking, though. It doesn't even mention my podcast. That's one thing I really should add, since it's an award-winning podcast. And it doesn't mention my Saskatchewan Book Awards, although it mentions my Saskatchewan Book Award in my nominations, although it mentions Aurora Awards. And the nonfiction list is limited to 2 books that are related to science fiction and fantasy. It doesn't touch the 40 or 50 others that I've written. So if I really want to bring it up to date, I got a lot of work to do. It's fairly far down the priority list, but okay, we're back to Hill. I am very close to Albert, so maybe I'll go down over the Albert Street Bridge. I'm going to come out sort of in the middle of the park. If we go down to the Albert Street Bridge, we can look at the water pouring out of the lake, so that seems like reason enough to do that. Oh, have I mentioned? I must have mentioned it yesterday in that aborted walk. But I haven't mentioned it today that, speaking of awards, Star Song, my young adult science fiction novel, published by Shadowpaw Press last year, is a finalist for the Aurora Award for Best Young Adult Novel, up against some big names like Kelly Armstrong. So I'm not counting on anything. But that's cool. Very orange front there. The Aurora Awards are fan nominated and voted on by members of the Canadian Science Fiction Fantasy Association each year. Now, if you would like to vote for me or anyone else, you can see the complete ballot at their website, which is pre-Aurora Awards. Not free, like Aurora Awards runs together. Aurora, not Aurora Awards, but Pre-Aurora Awards, PRIXAURORAWARDS.ca, I think. Oh, that's the house I always notice in the snow because it's such a bright, refreshing color in a gray winter landscape, and now it just looks like spring, so it works for multiple seasons. You can find the ballot there, and if you want to join the Canadian Science Fiction and Fantasy Association, well, first of all, you have to be a Canadian resident or citizen. But it's only $10 Canadian. It's like $8 US. And then you can vote for the Aurora Awards. And nominate next year. I have won one. No, two. But for writing, I've won one. My second novel for DAW Books, Mars Seguro, won the Aurora Award for Best Long Form Work in English, it was called then. Should have been the launch to a fabulous career. Unfortunately, didn't really seem to influence sales very much. The second book in that, well, it was never a series, but 2 books, Terra Insegura, was shortlisted the following year for Best Novel. And I've had now 3 books nominated for Best Young Adult Novel, shortlisted. Twist of the Blade, the second book in the Shards of Excalibur series, and Doran to Fairy, the last book in the series, were both shortlisted for Aurora Awards, and now Star Song. And then I won one for the World Shapers podcast in 2019. Was shortlisted the next year but didn't win. Didn't make the shortlist last year, went back on the shortlist this year. I'd like to win because then I would have one of every version of the Aurora Awards. They redesigned them. It used to be, well, they called it the cheese grater, which wasn't really fair, but it was this really clever metal cut trophy. If you looked at it from the top, it said SF. But if you looked at it from any angle, you could see a cut-out maple leaf in the middle of it, these 3 pieces of metal. And of course, they curved like the Aurora. It's very clever, done by a Calgary artist. But when he stopped being able to make them, they went with a plexiglass design, which I won, or glass, I don't know what it is exactly, but with, Aurora just embossed on it kind of thing, which is also nice. I won that in 2019, but they've already redesigned it again. I can't remember why. And the new one is colored glass, I think, which is kind of cool. So we'll go over this way because I have to get over to the bridge anyway. Do I walk down Albert for a block or two? No, I think I'll stay over here because Albert's more likely to get dust in my eyes. Always point out that house hasn't been a single dwelling for a long time. I think it turned into kind of a group home back in the 50s maybe. And I don't know, probably got various suites in it now. I think it was like a home for wayward girls or something like that. I'd have to look in my own book, Historic Walks of Regina and Moose Jaw, which I don't have memorized, which is unfortunate because I pass all these houses I'm sure are probably in there. Like, that's an interesting looking one. Can't tell you anything about it though, off the top of my head. If I could figure out some way to reference the book and hold the gimbal, I could walk around and do the whole tour, although it would take a long time if you stopped and read every one of the entries. I'd have to do it in multiple stages, I think. Twentieth Avenue. I like that house too. Very classic, kind of New England look to that one, I think. Or Home Alone, maybe. You can see a house like that on their street. Little sheaves of wheat or grass. This front gate entry, I kind of like that look too. Don't think it would work on our house because of where we're located, but everything looks nice today because the sun is all lighting up the houses here. Oh, here's one for sale. Looks like it was probably recently renovated. If you're looking, there's the sign. Call it quick. It's really been working on this one too. I don't know if that brick facade is new. Doesn't really look like it. But I know they've been going in and out of there. And a rather forbidding backyard fence here for privacy. And we're on Regina Avenue with Albert Street right there. So once we get across Regina Avenue, it's straight down the over the bridge, not through the woods. I'll lose my gloves now. I'm getting warm enough, even with a bit of breeze. I don't feel I need them. So, coming up to the Albert Street Bridge. This gray house in the corner is actually a very old house that was in my book, and then it was completely renovated. Doesn't look anything like it used to. Well, it's the same shape, but the exterior is brand new. And it certainly didn't used to have that driveway. Well, it makes a lot of sense since there's this drive up against the bridge here that you can use to start your turnaround. A lot easier than any other way of parking on Regina Avenue that close to the corner. I see a lot of white water running down there, so let's go take a look. The lake, of course, is over there. You can see the white water through the trees there. Friday when I was here, they had a crane, so I think they were opening the spillway more. Because the lake's getting quite high, even though it's still capped with ice. It'd be thin ice, but it still has that ice cap on it for a while yet. Someone walking their dogs. We'll get up here where we can get a better look at the water down there. See the Ukrainian flag flying there with the Canadian and Saskatchewan flags. About to lose that Canadian flag. All right, let's take a look here. There's your spring runoff. And a certain smell, although not as bad as it used to be before the lake was deepened. It used to be quite a stench when the lake opened up because of all the anaerobic decay going on under the ice. Looks like a much mightier river than it actually is right now. Oh, mesmerizing. There's a jogger. There's always a dog, there's always a jogger. Sometimes there's somebody jogging and walking a dog at the same time. Now we look back at the creek before we leave it behind. We'll walk along it tomorrow. The royal we. We if you join me. Otherwise it's just me. So yeah, it's called Lake View, but these houses are about the only ones that actually have a lake view. Nobody else has a lake view. And we're in Cathedral, but you can't actually see the cathedral from our house, so they're fairly broad titles for the neighborhood. Well, just a couple of blocks and I'll be home. Over an hour today. I knew it would be walking out there, especially going down to the south end of the park. If I just turned around and come back, it wouldn't have been. But I stretched it out quite a bit by going that far south. Ooh, much quieter once you get away from Albert Street. Harrington Mews, home to Wally Knight from the Shards of Excalibur series. Another nice driveway, a garage on that house. I like the looks of that house, but I've never been in it. Always been curious. I used to know people who lived there, but they are long gone elsewhere. I mean, I still know them, but they don't live there anymore. Saddest thing about our house, with my daughter being in third year university and her name being Alice, is we're soon going to be telling people Alice doesn't live here anymore, which is sad. I'm not looking forward to that. I have enjoyed having a daughter growing up. But she's about to turn 21, so I think we have successfully grown her up. Legal drinking age even in the States. Here it's 19. Manitoba and Alberta it's 18, so I think her first drink she ordered when we were in Calgary when she was 18. She didn't finish it, but she liked the fact she was able to order it. And she'll be home in 3 weeks. Yeah, because I'll be in Saskatoon at Sask Expo when she gets here. I really had better look at my inventory even tomorrow probably. Got lots of most things, but it's my DAW books I'm a little worried about. The World Shaper series. I'm not sure. I probably have plenty of World Shaper. I think I have plenty of Master of the World. But the Moonlit World, I might need to order some more. No shortage of shards of Excalibur since I have a lot of stock that I got cheap when Kato Books went out of business. Lots of the City-born. The paperback originals are getting thin on the ground, but you can't really get any more of those. They're still available as ebooks, but paperbacks are hard to come by. Massive Agreement I'm still good on. And of course anything Shadowpaw Press has printed. I can always get more, but I better look because I might need to order a box or two of those too. And hopefully I could still get them, but it's getting close, so I might not. But I should order them anyway. Right. I guess that's tomorrow's task then. Counting books. Bookkeeping, you might say. And I just did. Okay, practically home. Practically perfect in every way. All in all, a pleasant enough walk. And it should be for a day or two. Then Wednesday, I think, is when they're talking about Wednesday, Thursday, snow. So we'll see if that happens. At the very least, it's going to be colder. And, there's still snow on that side of the street, but not so much on ours. Right then. No, it's not all gone. You can see some right over there. And there's more coming this week, so watch for that. And another exciting episode of Walking in Regina. Thanks for walking with me. Bye for now.